Unmute that. Yo, 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 yo. How is everybody doing? What is up? What is good? I know that is King of Lightning's intro. I don't care anymore. I'm owning up to it. That's how I'm feeling about it now. But how is everybody doing? I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Why do I feel like the chat box is a little off? You know what? It doesn't matter. We are going to transform stretch to screen, bring it over, sit that there, and we should be good for right now. If not, I apologize. It's not my fault. For some reason, OBS and Streamlabs does not want to cooperate with me today. I had a little bit of troubleshooting, and I apologize for the stream being about 35 minutes late, but I came from work. The Avengers beta drops today. I'm going to be playing, but nobody cares about me and my gaming life. But today, there is no One Piece chapter for this week, so just like I promised, I'm getting better at keeping my promises. I am doing another one-on-one discussion stream. Last week, it was me and Fiji talking about Zoro's potential of killing Kaido. This week, I am here with Shonen Ouji, and we are going to discuss, well, among a few topics, one of them being possible outcomes for Yamato and where she could end up come the end of Wano that isn't just her or he joining the Straw Hats. But for right now, Ouji, please introduce yourself. Let people know where they can find you. In fact, I will link your channel in the description. But please, I'll give you the floor to introduce yourself.
Hello. First of all, Silvers, thanks for having me on. I was flattered when you shared my video like 2 weeks ago, maybe, and I checked out your stream with Fiji, and you guys did a really good job. But my name is Shonen Ouji. You can just call me OG for short. I have a bunch of different videos. I've been doing regular One Piece content weekly for 3 months now. But yeah, you can go to my YouTube channel, which should be linked. You can watch my One Piece discussions. I've done a bunch of different stuff. I also have a Dr. Stone video, why you should read the manga. I'm hoping to do more Dr. Stone manga discussions, but yeah, that's me.
Hey man, don't worry about it. If I like looking at new content, especially from new content creators. It's enjoyable, especially to get a different opinion from other people in the community, like the stream. Hey J Wolf, what's going on? Going with what's happening? Static, how are you doing? And yes, Static, I have looked up Yankee girls. It's delinquent girls. Okay, I looked it up. I listened to you. We can move on from it. But like I said, we will be discussing a few topics today. One of them being Yamato and her possible outcomes for her come the end of Wano. Another being matchups for Wano. Is Zoro ready to fight King? Expectations for the Shogun of Wano before and after his reveal. Could Kaido have had his own arc outside of Wano? Because I have brought this up, excuse me, many times before, that I was disappointed with the outcome that was the Wano arc. I was expecting it to be something completely isolated in its own, not having Emperor here. And like I said, possible outcomes for Yamato, and of course we're gonna end it out with the next arc predictions. And obviously, y'all know I like to talk about new crew members, but that is going to be covered in the whole Yamato and possible outcomes for her. But first up, let's talk about the matchups for Wano. I know last week I said, is Zoro ready to fight King? Like, the question came up, is Zoro ready to fight King, and how would he fare against them? Personally, I'm okay with Zoro fighting King at the moment. It's just I would like to have some type of transition in between that, because for Zoro to go from absolutely no diffing his opponents since he got to the New World to now fighting equally with a first commander, or even fighting a first commander on the same level that Luffy fought Katakuri. I feel like the transition just doesn't seem fluid enough for Luffy, who is supposed to be the captain, who is implied to be above everybody in his crew, including Zoro, regardless of how close they are in the power scale. I think that for Luffy to go from struggling against the first commander and then the next arc, Zoro doing the exact same, I feel like it's just not fluid enough for Zoro in terms of like his power scaling. Ouji, I know you had a differing opinion on it. I'll give you the floor, please.
Yeah, so in terms of relative power, you brought up Katakuri. I know people, I'm not really up the school of like titles as a power scaling system, but if you're going to use that system and you're going to say that King and Katakuri are both Yonko commander.
Yeah, first commander. Yeah, first commanders. They're supposedly the right hands, even though in like the actual story, they really aren't the right hand. They're never stated to be the right hand men. It's just that they're the strongest of their crew, second to the emperors.
I don't think it would necessarily be inconsistent for Zoro to still be close to Luffy but still struggle with King, only because even if King and Katakuri are in the same spectrum, I feel like because that's a spectrum, King, and obviously this is just my headcanon, I see King as somewhat stronger than Katakuri, even though they're in the same spectrum. And also, King, I don't know his exact age off the top of my head, but I feel he would have more experience just in general as a pirate. So I feel like that would give him an edge. And then you can get into devil fruits and abilities and whatnot. But I don't think it would be that inconsistent in terms of relative power levels to have Zoro have a good fight against King.
I just think that it's a little too soon to have Zoro squaring off against an emperor's first commander immediately following the arc that Luffy did the exact same thing. Even if Zoro is like pushed to the brink of death, to me it feels like there should be another fight in between, and which is why I rally so hard for Zoro to fight Page 1. And even if excuse me, even if Page 1 does have a devil fruit, which I really hope he doesn't, because Zoro hasn't had a traditional sword fight since, well, Thriller Bark against Ryuma, if I'm remembering correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's one thing that Zoro's lacking, especially when it comes to him achieving his goal of being the world's strongest swordsman, when he hasn't really fought that many pure swordsmen, for lack of a better term. Every swordsman that he's fought has either had an amplified ability because of a devil fruit, or they weren't swordsmen at all. I'll pull up the wiki and come back to it, but off the top of my head, he had Mr. One he had Mr. One in the Alabasta. Another swordsman was Ohm from Skypiea, but his sword was really more of a heat-seeking whip.
Right.
Oh no, Silver said pure swordsman. End me. Ziad, shut up. Okay.
Also, did you say Page 1? Because I think you meant to say who's
who. Yeah, who's who. I said Page 1. Oh, I apologize. You mean who's who, right? Yeah, Static. Thank you for correcting, Ouji. Thank you for catching that.
Yeah, I didn't want to cut you off.
Jesus. Ooh, that would have been a little smudge on my record there. But yeah, we had Ohm in Skypiea, who really wasn't much of a swordsman. Was his sword was really just a cloud whip, a heat-sinking whip, if anything. And don't get me wrong, Zoro fighting non-swordsmen is something that he has to do because look at in that same arc in Skypiea, he fought I can't remember his name, but the guy with the flash pistols, and that led to Zoro having to develop the flying slash technique. He was already developing it, but he came to the realization that he has to figure this out right now, and I appreciate that. You know, Zoro has to go up against, you know, all like varying enemies, but I would still very much like to see Zoro fight a pure 100% swordsman, no devil fruit, just all skill with the sword. And we can go over that in the expectation for the Shogun of Wano, because like I said in my stream with Fiji and in many streams previously, I was disappointed when we entered Wano. We were being built up. It was being built up as a country of monster swordsmen, and we get here and it's just a polluted land with weapons factories and no swordsmen in sight. And every competent swordsman that was potentially a matchup for Zoro ended up being on our side. And I guess that's just one that's just one of the things that I would like for Zoro to do. You know, going back to the original topic, is I want Zoro to have a pure sword fight. No, you know, a lot like the anime showed him versus Kawamatsu, or Killer, if you will. You know, I really would just like to see an actual sword fight. Oda was one of the editors on Rurouni Kenshin, one of the best in my opinion, one of the best samurai swordsman mangas to ever grace this planet. And yeah, I guess really that's really just my biggest concern when it comes to, you know, Zoro's matchup against King. I'd like to see his transition into the fight with King a little bit better, rather than just him having no issues with his prior opponents to going face to face with somebody that Luffy just struggled with one arc prior.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about what's going to happen with Zoro, and that's part of the excitement of Onigashima, I guess, is it's not linear. It's kind of all over the place. So even though we see certain pieces of the puzzle falling into place, like in one chapter, everything can all of a sudden just be completely different. I would actually really like to see him fight one of the Toby Roppo before, assuming he does fight one of the commanders. But the Toby Roppo are so strange because it seems like there's some sort of pyramid. Like, for example, you could say page 1 is at the bottom, and then it kind of seems like Who's Who and Sasaki are relatively at the top.
And
so if you thought,
somewhere in that middle ground is probably Ulti, Black Maria, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is all of the Toby Roppo seem to have really mysterious, or at least potential for really mysterious backgrounds. Like, for example, Black Maria is like, I think she's like as tall as Kaido, if not a little shorter, and she's been very behind the scenes. Like, not too long ago, she was just like chilling out with Kaido. I feel like that's going to be a twist where all of a sudden she's like this major threat, but it's a shock because we thought she was just like Kaido's side action, or she was kind of complacent. But I'm also really curious to find out what happens with Who's Who, because there's so much surrounding Who's Who, whether it's he seems to have this resentment for Queen, the whole thing with his crew and the eye symbols. So maybe Zoro could fight Who's Who, because Who's Who seems to be, with Sasaki not getting as much spotlight, Who seems to be the most driven of the Toby Roppo. So I think that would be an interesting fight. But go ahead.
Sasaki being like his first interaction with the enemy was played off as a joke, and I know King, I believe it was King, he mentioned that Satsuki and Who's Who, and I believe someone else, I can't remember 100%, but but I know for a fact that Satsuki and Who's Who, they were both captains of
Hmm.
pirate crews themselves, and we know how Kaido brings other people into the Beast Pirates,
Hmm.
whether it's either kill everybody and break their spirit and will until they join you, or I guess it's like a poo where they just come in under you, or more like Drake. uh
Hmm.
the one thing that I am, and when it comes to Who's Who, I think his resentment for Queen is more so, during that initial will breaking, he learned Who's Who understands the chain of command. He understands who is the strongest on this sea, and he believes that person to be Kaido, but he still holds resentment for the person who killed his entire crew. That's my
Hmm.
theory on it, and I think that that person is Queen, and that's
Yeah,
why
I have a
he's ready to jump on that so fast. And
Go ahead.
and
Sorry.
as far as Black Maria is concerned, the well, my theory at least, I'm not sure if it's the popular theory. The reason she's not going after Yamato is because is and why she doesn't want to move up in the ranks of the Beast Pirates is because, like you said, Kaido's side action. That the popular theory, or one of the popular theories, is that Black Maria is Yamato's mother, and I can't really argue it because there hasn't really been much to it, except for the fact that Black Maria seems really really cozy with Kaido.
Hmm.
But I do like your idea of, she's just in the background. She hasn't really done much, but when the time comes, she might actually be a colossal threat. Because what is Drake's devil fruit? It's the
It's a Allosaurus,
yeah,
I
it's
believe.
an Allosaurus. But for Kaido to have the Beast Pirates and all of these dinosaurs, we have still yet to see the King of the Beast. We have
Hmm.
still yet to see an actual T Rex. And I know it'd be kind of a cheat to have Drake be the Allosaurus, which is as close to a T Rex as you'll get, I guess.
Hmm.
And then just have Black Maria be the actual T Rex, and just come up out of nowhere and be a major threat, even though she is part of the Flying Six.
Right. I'm not sure because, like I said, they're all very mysterious, and it seems like they have really interesting backgrounds that we don't know about yet. Especially with Sasaki and Who's Who being captains, we don't know how they were initiated. But with Black Maria, I tend to think she's a T Rex, just because with the Zoans, we know they take on the traits and personalities, or not personalities, but the traits of their animal.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, Ulti is that dinosaur. I don't know it off the top of my head, but it's the
It's
one with
the
really good headbutts.
yeah.
And Ulti, coincidentally, literally a headstrong character. So I think it would make sense if Black Maria was a T Rex because she is so like ginormous.
That makes sense. I could definitely get behind the idea, and I'm hoping that that is the case. Even if she and it would also make sense as to why. Hold on, give me 1 second. Just like you said, as soon as the Yeti. I apologize. Can you like keep the conversation going real quick? I have a
Yeah, I'm
phone call
gonna
real quick.
go ahead, do your thing. I'm gonna address a comment. Somebody said I would argue Drake is the most driven. He seems to be one of the most driven. You could make the argument that Drake is the driven, considering he is an agent of Sword. But at the same time, like I said, we don't know enough about Who's Who. Who's Who seems to have some sort of vendetta against Queen, and it doesn't just seem like uh, very simple resentment for being beaten. It seems like very bloody resentment for Queen. Like he doesn't just want to beat him. He looks like he wants to murder him. So I don't know. Sasaki we haven't seen enough of yet, but there was that interesting bit with Sasaki when they were all together, and Sasaki said something like, "I don't want to go drink with all those losers, those nobodies. If I'm going to drink with Kaido." So in that respect, he seems driven in the respect that like he only cares about power and he wants power and strength.
Okay, I'm back, and I was listening in on that,
Mhm.
but
Yeah,
I
somebody said Drake is probably the most driven.
my whole theory on Drake, and I know this is like a sidebar, like a little tangent,
Mhm.
but my whole theory on Drake is that him and like pre-time skip, because obviously we know that they're connected by a past event, the Barrel Pirates and Law's Devil Fruit.
Mhm.
Drake was there, so was Law. We don't know if they actually met. We know that Law got taken away on a Marine ship, but only after Doflamingo heard the news that Drake was taken on a Marine ship, and they believed that that was Law. Uh, my theory is pre-time skipper Saboti, Law, and Drake made a plan to take out one of the emperors to bring down Kaido. Drake would infiltrate from within, and Law would cause chaos from the outside.
That
And
is a very interesting theory. Keep going. Sorry.
and from the inside and from what we've seen so far, Kaido's crew already seems like they're on edge. It's almost like the Rocks Pirates, where
Mhm.
not so much as they are all always at each other's throat, but it seems like there's a hierarchy that could tip at any moment. And these characters, like you said, especially with Ulti, seem very very headstrong in what they're
Mhm.
doing. I mean, look at who's who. Now, when it comes to Drake, I feel like I said, I think Who's Who still holds resentment for the person who broke his spirit and broke his will and brought him into Kaido's crew. All Who's Who probably wants, is to kill Queen, wants to take
Mhm.
out Queen. I would not be surprised if Who's Who found out that Drake is actually working for the Marines. He's an agent of Sword, and he told him, I'm willing to help you, but Queen is mine. I'll help you do whatever it is you need to do, but Queen is mine. Satsuki, I feel like he's just one of those characters who, he got his spirit broken, and he wants to move up, and he wants to move up next to the person who he admires in the crew. He wants to
Right.
stand next to the captain. He wants to be
Mhm.
next to Kaido. And as far as the commanders go, King and Queen seem like they just bully Jack, even though like a little brother.
Mhm.
And going back to Black Maria, I wouldn't be, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if she actually is a major threat, if she is actually of the Yonko commander tier, but
Right.
she just doesn't move up because she has no reason to. She's already sleeping with Kaido. What more does she need?
My little theory, if we can continue the sidebar,
Yeah.
is we got a comment like the same chapter when Apu was still a thing. Queen said something about um, wanting to take out one of the Toby Ropo. My theory is, if not all of them, like all the commanders, Queen knows Drake is a agent of Sword, but doesn't want him to know, and he has a plan to assassinate Drake. That is my theory.
Huh. Yeah, even with that, like even if you take that into account, Kaido's crew seems like they're very very self-destructive.
Mm,
It feels like with that, coupled with all of the new allies that we've gotten on our side, I feel like Kaido's crew is going to end up defeating themselves. And with the comment that Kaido made last chapter, that all pirate alliances end in betrayal, and he tried to, and he was pushing that betrayal on Luffy. If you scabbards fail, everything's going to, like, Luffy's just gonna abandon you, and they said no. I feel like that might tie a little into Kaido's backstory, but we're not going to talk about that right now.
mm,
We can talk about that during the Kaido and his own arc thing. But
mhm.
I feel like that is going to come back and bite him in the ass. It may actually be Big Mom who betrays him when he's down and beaten and battered, and with Parasparrow already against this alliance to begin with. We may actually see Big Mom kick Kaido while he's down. She goes and gets his road poneglyph, and my theory is that Big Mom's ultimate defeat is going to happen in Elbath. And and one of the reasons that we're going to have to confront her 100% is to get Kaido's road poneglyph from her. Even though we already got her 3 poneglyphs, we will fail at getting Kaido's, and we're gonna have to confront Big Mom mano y mano. And I feel like that's where Big Mom's gonna go down 100%.
That makes a lot of sense. It would make sense with who Big Mom is. It would also give us a good reason to go to Elbath, and we can talk about this more later for next arcs, but I was actually thinking before stream, I was like, besides like all the context of Elbath, they wouldn't really have a ton of reason to go because all they just need is the poneglyph. So I think that's a reasonable theory. But as far as like Kaido's crew being like a ticking time clock or a time bomb, excuse me, the thing about his crew is if you look at all of the captains in One Piece, they all have some sort of dream. And then when you get to Kaido, the only thing holding his crew together is power. Like it's all just one big power game. So I think that would be sort of the poetic justice is Kaido is overpowered by everything he built.
That actually is interesting. Are Marines coming to Wano though? I guess we can talk about that right now. It has to do with matchups. Yeah, I guess we can talk about that. Personally, at this point, I don't see the point. Before the Scabbards got to the beach to Onogashima, got to the beach overlooking Onogashima, and before we started moving forward, I thought that the Straw Hats had absolutely no hope of winning this. Even with the samurai that we had on our side, I thought we had no possible chance of winning. Absolutely zero. But seeing more of Kaido's crew, and then with Law coming back up, Kid coming in, and Luffy and all of them training, and then we got Marco and the rest of the Mink showed up, I'm feeling like Kaido's crew has a little bit of a disadvantage because everybody wants to move up. Everybody wants to get the one up on the other person. The only people who seem like they're really holding this crew together, Kaido has numbers, but for the most part, his crew really isn't all that intelligent. Like looking at even when we first entered Onogashima, they were all just ganging up on Zoro and everyone. And we know Zoro and Luffy, they can deal with large crowds, but this is a massive amount of people. Even, I think they even said it, like Zoro even mentioned, like, this is a lot of people that we really can't deal with right now. And if we bring in the Marines, I see them playing I see the possibility of them playing a few different roles. Either they occupy the Big Mom pirates who are still circling the island for some reason, or they come in and is playing the third party in this war. Or I guess they could join and help the Straw Hats. But as of right, because, Big Mom and Kaido coming together like this, Sengoku even said this looks like the reformation of, is that a word? Reformation? Reformation.
Yeah. Reformation.
Yeah, Reformation. That just didn't sound right for a second. But yeah, it seems like the reformation of the Rocks Pirates, and nobody wants that. Hell, even Garp said if the Rocks Pirates were to come back right now, there's nothing we could do about it. There's nothing, absolutely zero we could do about it. So, and I think the latter of those situations is the most likely, because I feel like the world government would... Ziad, shut up. I feel like the world government... Yeah, right? I feel like the world government would want to end that alliance a lot more than they want to capture Luffy right now. Because like they said, bringing back the Rocks Pirates would be devastating to the world.
Well, it's very complicated because once we got to Wano, we saw how corrupt, like, we got a new appreciation for the world government's corruption because then you see all of the black market stuff and you
Oh yeah.
finally put it together that the world government is so high and mighty, but you find out they had their warlord Doflamingo doing business with Wano, which is really Kaido. Like it's not, there is no Wano. There's Kaido's Wano. That's it. So the world government has this big stance on pirates. Meanwhile, they're buying all kinds of sea
Weapons and
stone and weapons from Kaido. So it's like, all right, who are you guys? Like you guys are full of crap. So they have this interest where they want to put an end to the Yonko, and that's the thing with their scientific technology and all that, where they are in a position where they're like, yeah, you guys aren't a big deal anymore. We got this. But they also have this interest of like, they don't just want to like bring in a buster call. Like they want to secure the resources in Wano.
yeah. So, ooh, excuse me. The world government, I don't think that they so much want to get rid of the emperors simply because they account for them in the whole in the power struggle in the maintaining balance in the world. They take the emperors into account like Chicago took Al Capone into account when they were running taxes and everything.
Mhm.
You know, you have to take into effect you have to take into account the crime rate, what these people are doing that you can't stop. I can understand why they got rid of the warlords because they had something to replace it.
Mm.
You get what I mean?
Yeah, right.
There's not much for them. If they were to want, if they are right now able to take down the emperors one by one, I feel like the world government would kind of collapse in on itself because, I think I can't remember where it was stated, but they said that the reason that two emperors would never start a war with each other is because neither side would win. Whoever wins in that war is already weakened, and another emperor would come in and start scrambling for that now open territory, and then on top of it, that weakened emperor is going to get taken down by the third party emperor who came in, and there's an imbalance. Now one of these emperors, let me just place a scenario. If Big Mom and Kaido began fighting each other and Kaido kills Big Mom, now Blackbeard comes in and he's scrambling for all of Big Mom's territory. Now Blackbeard just came up in the world a lot more than Kaido did from killing Big Mom. Blackbeard gained more than Kaido did. And now with a weakened Kaido after the fight, Blackbeard comes in and now he kills Kaido, and now all of this territory is open, and now there's an imbalance. Blackbeard is now the most powerful emperor in the entire new world. He has all of the territory. He now has the army. He occupied the most. He occupied the most territory, and now Shanks is at a disadvantage. And now Blackbeard comes in and he takes out Shanks, and now Blackbeard is the single most powerful person in the new world. He conquered the entirety of the new world, and I feel like this is the outcome that the world government is trying to stop. Because if Blackbeard controls the entirety of the new world, he is most likely the most powerful man in the entire world at that point. If he challenges the world government, I mean, look at what Whitebeard did in Marineford alone. He went up against, I want to say, the entirety of the Marine forces, and you can honestly say he leveled Marineford, all
Mm-hmm.
for one person. Now, imagine if somebody had a purely destructive goal with that kind of power.
Yeah, my thing is, I think it all comes down to where does Oda want to take the story? Because where I see it going is, and this really depends on, does Oda want to start wrapping things up and does he want to start finalizing the story? I see it as with the end of Wano, he wants to completely upset the world balance only because we've seen this as a teaser with the warlords, and it seems like it's being set up now with so many unprecedented things happening. with the Yonko making an alliance. So it seems like Oda is working towards taking all the established pillars of the world powers and just totally changing the game so that we are in the situation post Wano where everything is a gigantic mess, and then that is our gateway into the final arc.
I mean, we've seen teases for that a few times. I mean, look at when Whitebeard died. The world moved. Literally, the world moved. More pirate. It was like when Roger died all over again. More
Mm-hmm.
pirates started setting out. Chaos was being caused all over the world to the point where Garp himself had to put up a sign in his hometown. This place is protected by Monkey D. Garp. Come here and you fucked up. You come here and you're never leaving. And look at what happened when all Luffy did was go in. He didn't even defeat Big Mom. He just went in, caused a little chaos, and then left. The world started to move again. Now, could you imagine if Kaido dies right now, or Big Mom, if another emperor goes down right now, the world is going to start moving. And I feel, and like Whitebeard said, when the One Piece is found, a world war is going to start. I feel like that's going to happen when when all of the emperors are defeated. It's just Luffy and Blackbeard, or Luffy and Kid, or whoever, Luffy versus whoever he's challenging for the One Piece at that point. And then we might move into like the final showdown with the world government, because I don't see us finding the One Piece before beating the world government. Well, after beating the world government, I'm sorry. Crap, I lost my train of thought.
I'll say something to that. It's very interesting because, like you saying, you brought up Shanks, and somebody brought up Shanks in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
Shanks is a very interesting third party because, like with Marineford, it seems like his objective in showing up was he doesn't want he didn't want a world war at that moment. And there's a video O'Hara did that was very good where he talks about it seems like Shanks has this sort of pacifist agenda where it's not pacifist in the sense of like he wants world peace,
He
but
keeps
he wants world balance.
he keeps the current excuse me, he keeps the status quo as things are now.
Right.
He makes sure as everything is maintained. He's not trying to disrupt, he's not trying to conquer, he's not trying to destroy. He's just trying to make sure people stay safe, because in my opinion, Shanks really is just the pinnacle of what a pirate is. He drinks, he parties, he plunders when he needs to. Because in actual history, pirates weren't, treasure hunters, or they didn't sail around the world looking for buried treasure, because who the hell buried this treasure before they got there? Pirates were just looking for Pirates were just looking to establish their own civilization. That's what everything in Nassau was about. They only stole what they needed to survive and resell. And if you tried to take what was theirs, they fought back. Those were pirates. And I feel like that's exactly what Shanks is. He does what needs to be done. And I just remember what my point. The whole world war at the end of when the One Piece is found, Kaido is trying to start the biggest war this world has ever seen right now. So you can only imagine what that entails, And then once the One Piece is found, this world war, oh my God.
Right.
Ooh, excuse me. I didn't mean to cut you off there. Go ahead.
You're good. Because I had 2 points I wanted to talk about if you want to just wrap up matchups, and then we can move into the other stuff if you want to work
Oh
back
yeah,
a bit.
yeah. We can move on. We can move on after this, and if you have another point, we can move back to it. We've been going for almost an hour on just matchups alone. I knew
Uh,
we were gonna be able to talk these topics to death, but
oh, for
Jesus.
sure. Um, I want to pick your brain a bit on the numbers, the Kaido's numbers, because, and I am someone who is against like setting my expectations concretely to the point where like 3 chapters later it's completely different, and then I try to say that One Piece is trash because it wasn't what I expected. I'm very much against that. But with the numbers, I feel like it was a major disappointment so far. It could be that we only met the one and he was like the wimpier of the numbers, and we're going to meet more of them and they all turn out to be badass. But it seems like the numbers were hyped up from that chapter. It was the end of whatever chapter where they're coming to Wano, and you just see their shadows, their silhouettes, and they're these gigantic beasts.
Oh yeah, I'm
And
looking at
then,
the silhouette. I'm looking at the silhouettes right now, and I'm
then we
looking at
got,
Hacha, the one that we actually got revealed.
yeah, it was a jackass.
Yeah. If you look in the Discord, out of all of the numbers that we see, I look in a room with no mics in the Discord. This is the silhouette,
Let me
and
see.
and out of all of them, the only one, in my opinion, that looks like he could be somewhat threatening and have a pretty decent design is this one.
Okay.
Outside of that, because he looks like a traditional giant demon, whereas everyone else looks like a goofy monster from Where the Wild Things Are, or just a straight caveman. He looks like an actual demon.
Well,
Well,
so my question is, without going on a rant,
yeah.
do you think because Hachi seems sort of like a disappointment when you take that picture and then you look at Hachi, who kind of just looks like a goof. Do you think the numbers are going to play a bigger role in future chapters, or do you think it was all pure hype?
I feel like the numbers are going to, for the most part, I feel like the numbers may actually just be, cannon fodder for maybe
Okay.
Frankie and Chopper, just to give Chopper some excitement, because Monster Point, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 6 numbers right here so far that count silhouettes and Hacha, but the numbers seem. I mean, they had hype. Apu came
Mm.
back to Wano and they were out doing something. God knows what. God
They
knows
were
what
just
they were out doing.
making like a ginormous mess. Like they were hyped up to be like absolutely massive, like as big as like small mountains. And then we see them, and they're kind of like just the one looked like kind of an idiot.
Yeah, I mean, from what we seen of him, he looked like he was drunk for the most part, and
Mm.
just from his side, he is pretty massive, and the club he swung was freaking huge. But I do get what you mean. He does look pretty disappointing from the silhouettes that we got. I was expecting more, just like primal, primitive giant monsters, giant monster men. This guy's wearing like 80s sunglasses and a tracksuit.
A bowl cut.
Yeah, with a freaking bowl cut. I mean,
um,
at this point, I'm not really expecting much out of the numbers. The only thing that I'm hoping can go along with them is the fact that they could be the same race as Kaido, because my theory on Kaido is that he's half ancient giant race, or a descendant of the ancient giant race, and that's why he chose Onogashima, or decided to come to Wano after the rocks fell apart. And Onogashima may actually be the homeland of, or the homeland of the ancient giants race, the Oris clan. That would probably give us an explanation as to what the hell that giant skull that they're actually in actually is. yeah, from the numbers at this point, I'm really just expecting lore out of them. But you know how Oda does like reveals on certain characters. We have to wait like I want to say like 3 arcs later, and then we find out, oh, this person is a part of this race, and that's what made them so special. Like we didn't find out Vivi was technically a celestial dragon until I want to say more than a decade later.
The only thing I want to hear your thoughts on before we move on to bigger, better things.
Yeah.
Do you have any predictions? You kind of made a segue. What are your expectations for the Straw Hats, other than Luffy, other than Zoro? Because there are so many players in this situation. I don't know how you would coherently have a bunch of one-on-one fights. So, what do you think Oda has planned for like Robin or Chopper or Brooke? What are your thoughts on? It doesn't have to be all of them. It could just be like you only.
Oh yeah, yeah. So far, like right now, I'm not expecting every single Straw Hat to get a 1v1, but I am expecting them to be a part of a fight, and I don't mean part of a fight as in how Robin helped Kiros in the fight against Diamante. No. I'm expecting it to be tag teams or you know, group fights. Usopp, I'm still hoping, and a lot of people give me a lot of shit for this, and I'm keeping my eye on you, Ziad. If you're still in the chat, I'm keeping my eye on you, waiting for the hate comment. I'm expecting Usopp to have somewhat of a sniper battle, and the only person that I can think of right now was with Flampe in Whole Cake Island. We know that she has some type of ability to keep herself hidden from observation haki, so much in fact that even Katakuri didn't notice her until pretty much after he did something he regretted. She seemed pretty accurate with that blowgun, and with an ability to float around and fly. I'm expecting something more tactical for a 1v1 for Usopp, rather than just I can swing a sword and blow away an entire mountain. Flampe, Omega Lol, Silver's you're tired, go to bed. That's what I was waiting for, Ziad. Thank you for never disappointing. But yeah, I'm expecting something more tactical for a 1v1, or I'm hoping for something tactical in a 1v1 for Usopp. I mean, it's an unconventional sniper battle. You know, she uses a blowgun, he's using a freaking slingshot. Those things aren't known for their distance, and yet, hey, we can make it work. Imagine Marineford, right? Let's just put the Marineford setting in your head for a second. Usopp starts out where, let's just say, Whitebeard is. He's trying to move forward, but people on our side on the battlefield just keep dropping one by one, and there's nobody in front of them. No invisibility. The Germa aren't here. But crap. And in the background, and I'm not talking about on the scaffolding where Ace is, I mean way in the background, in the buildings on Marineford, just floating around, taking shots at people, is Flampe moving between building and building, and Usopp has to maneuver around to try and get a good shot on her at a hugely long distance, while also protecting the people on our side from, just playing counter sniper. And he has to line up a perfect shot at an upward angle and on a moving target. It would give us a chance to improve his observation haki, because he would have to challenge somebody who has an ability to cloak herself from observation haki. It'd be an amazing sniper shot, similar to what we got in Dressrosa. And it's Usopp actually playing a part in helping in the fight. Let the hunt become hunted. Jesus. But yeah.
Go ahead.
Gon said Ulti versus Flampe, come on now. Except in this scenario, Ulti is more of a close range fighter, and I actually do want to see a mirror match for Usopp in terms of, and like just to give him that boost in observation hockey and show off his sniper skills instead of just I'm shooting a seed into the ground and a forest of bamboo shoots just pop up. You know what I mean? I like to see those tactical fights, the ones that you have to think about rather than just who has more chakra or who can create the biggest blast.
Yeah, that's why I have my own thoughts, but I don't want to drag out your stream.
Oh no. I am off of work tomorrow. You can rant as long as possible. I actually was going to try and keep this pretty much contained for your sake.
My only prediction, now that you've sort of put it out there and I've been able to kind of think about it, it would actually be pretty cool. Not like a full out one-on-one, but maybe like a quick combo and then back to a one-on-one. So my original thought before we saw the Scabbards all team up against Kaido, my original thought was the Scabbards were going to be the first ones to fight the Commanders. And I thought Izo was going to fight King because the thing about King is he is very quick and very hard to hit. If you remember when the Big Mom Pirates were coming up the waterfall, all they had to do was snipe him and they were in the clear. They did not touch him. So he is a major threat when he is in his full beast form because he can move around three-dimensionally at a very quick speed. So maybe it's not Izo, but what you were just talking about, what if our boy, our god, Usopp, snipes King, and then that sets up a fight for Zoro?
Oh, a quick a quick combo, something to I don't want to say like majorly injured, but something to halt King's flying. He knows he can't take to the sky because there's somebody out there who can actually bring him down.
Mm.
Gon Ziad for some reason has had Ziad has a boner for Sabo, and I'm not too psyched on Sabo. That's what I did to Ziad. That's his issue with me, bro. All right, but with that, we can move on from the matchup. Oh no. The other Straw Hats, I really haven't thought much about when it comes to their fights in Wano, but I do expect the majority of them to tag team. I think Frankie and Chopper might use the Frankie Shogun and Monster Point to take on the numbers, 2v, as I said, as of right now, 2v6. Excuse me. Nami, I think she may get a 1v1 against somebody. I'm not 100% sure who it is. When we first got introduced to the Tobi Roppo, I thought she was going to end up fighting Ulti, but it looks like that's Yamato's matchup for this arc. And we can talk about Yamato in the necessity of the crew members topic, possible outcomes for Yamato. But Robin, I feel like she's going to tag team with somebody. I want to say Brooke since he's like the last Straw Hat, but she may team up with. I think she might tag team with somebody. Because
it would be interesting to see her in a 2v1 or some sort of team fight with Jinbei because they seem to be on the same page. So it'd be interesting to see their two minds together.
For somebody who couldn't wait for Jinbei to just hurry up and join the crew, I cannot believe I just excluded Jinbei from the Straw Hat Pirates. Wow.
I don't know what the deal is with Sasuke, but when I first saw his design, I thought maybe he was a fish man.
I feel like that was the group consensus. Like everybody thought he was a fish man.
It would be interesting if he is a fish man for him to fight Jinbei.
It would. Ziad in the chat said Jinbei versus Jack. Fishman mirror match. I wanna say I'm 100% on board with it, but I feel like Jack is more of Nekomamushi and Inuarashi's vendetta, but at the same time, they're kind of face to face with Kaido right now, and
Dead next week.
yeah, I don't either they're dead or out or down for the count. I don't see, and if they do walk away from that fight, it's because they ran. And I don't see them being the kind of characters to abandon their comrades, especially in this fight. It's with the Scabbards. It's with their lifelong friends. So as of right now, Jinbei and Jack, I have to be on board with it. I have to be on board with it. I'm looking at the wiki of the Straw Hat Pirates right now, and I'm looking like, wait, this doesn't look right. Why does there look like there are too many people? And I forget that technically Vivi is a member of the Straw Hats.
Technically, she's on bench.
Yeah, she's on the bench. She's a member of the crew. She's just not with us right now.
Yeah.
When politics kick off, that's when Vivi rallies for the crew. That's when Vivi rallies for the crew. But yeah, Jinbei versus Jack, I'm on board with it. Zoro versus Who's Who, and then transitions over into King. Sanji, I wanna say page 1 for that full on rematch because he was just like the last time they fought, it was just Sanji was just trying to distract him so everybody can get away in time, and it showcased what he could do, but at the same time, page 1 wasn't really all that affected by it. I mean, it wasn't like Luffy did to Cracker. Like, he wasn't out for the entire arc. Chopper and Frankie, I think, are going to Shogun Frankie and Monster Point against the numbers. Brook might actually be a good matchup for Sasuke. If Sasuke is an actual swordsman, or a swordsman not competent enough for Zoro. Mm-hmm. But I think Zoro goes Who's Who, and then they could transition to King. Nami may get a 1v1 or a tag team with Shinobu in some way. Usopp, like I said, I would like for him to have a tactical sniper battle. I want it to be Flampe just because of the ability that she has, but she's kind of not here right now. The only Big Mom pirate making their way over is Sparrow, and he's allied with Marco for the time being. Sanji, I'd like for him to go up against page 1 again and maybe transition into Queen if that's agreeable with everyone.
All I know is Oda needs to do Sanji right, or you were going to have like half the fan base like going apeshit after Wano.
Oh, absolutely.
Because he's been getting the rough end of the Straw Hat deal.
Okay, with that, let's transition over into the next topic. The expectations for the Shogun of Wano before and after Orochi's reveal, his actual reveal, because I feel like I can speak for everyone in the chat when I say going into Wano, like, aside from the arc itself, we were expecting the Shogun to be the most powerful swordsman in all of Wano. Personally, because we had ninja, I was expecting ninja, martial artists, like kung fu monks, swordsmen. I was expecting the Shogun to be a jack of all trades. I was expecting the Shogun to be a master of every form of every combat in Wano. I was expecting an armored man with spears and swords on his back. Oh my goodness, my expectations for the Shogun of Wano was through the roof. And I feel like this could tie into the next topic as well. Could Wano have been its own arc? Because, prior to his actual reveal, I was expecting the Shogun of Wano to be Zoro's 100% matchup. His next big hurdle in his road to being the world's greatest swordsman. With a country full of absolutely strong swordsmen, I was expecting their ruler to be the strongest of them all, but like I said, when we got here, swordsmanship has been outlawed for more than 20 years, and on top of it, the Shogun was some idiot drunk who only wanted power, and look at where he is now. It's ridiculous, and I know expectations versus reality, and Oda subverting expectations, and which I don't agree with when it came to Wano. There's subverting expectations, and then there's just false advertising. And I feel like Oda, he false advertised the hell out of this. He promised holograms for cell phones, and all we got was a shitty like 2.5D. It was just a huge disappointment to me, especially because Wano was my most anticipated arc the entire series since it was introduced. Now I'm just hoping and praying that Sniper Island is a thing.
I'm a little bit on the same page with you. Like, in terms of like not considering the scabbards, if you look at the samurai that were serving Orochi and then the Oniwabanshu, I'm not too impressed by them. I was expecting them to be a major threat. They kind of seemed like a joke. I mean, their designs, especially the Oniwabanshu, they have really cool designs that like tie in with like old Japanese like type culture. So I like that respect. So I don't think they're a complete waste. But in terms of like should they have been a bigger threat? Yes. But does it make sense? And I'll kind of start talking about why I think Wano works in this regard. It makes sense for them to not be that powerful because they're serving Orochi, and because, and this kind of ties into could Kaido have had his own arc. The way Oda has set up Wano, the way he presented Wano as it is a land of strong warriors and proud samurai, and then you get there and it's a hole and everyone's eating breadcrumbs and drinking dirty river water, but then you have all these fat cats sitting doing nothing who aren't even that strong because they're tied to Kaido. I think that was the intended reaction, because personally I'm on the same page with you. When Wano was introduced all the way going back to Punk Hazard, I was expecting the current shogun of Wano to be this very proud, very strong samurai. And I think what Oda did was he intentionally set that up so that you get that with Oden, and then you really feel that backstab when you find out what happened with Orochi. Like, you should have met Oden when the Straw Hats went to Wano, but Orochi messed that all up. And I think Oda did a good job of setting up Wano because, and I talked about this in one of my videos, Wano is it's like the penultimate, because I think it'll still be talked about in whatever the last arc is. Wano is the perfect reflection of one of the major themes, which I sort of call power versus resolve, which is you have these different theories on freedom. Kaido's theory is the way to be the most free, and arguably the Pirate King, is to just get the most power. And that's sort of what's been talked about throughout the whole New World saga. New World. You had it with Punk Hazard. Caesar could do whatever he wanted because he was attached to Doflamingo. Doflamingo could do whatever he wanted because he was attached to the world government and he had Kaido backing him. Then you beat all those people and you get to Wano, and now you see this is going to be the answer to that question, is which is the better theory? Something like Luffy, where you have really strong ideas and that's how you live a free life as a pirate? Or is it going to be Kaido and you can only be the most free if you get the most power?
That was a lot to take in. That was a lot to take in. Oh man.
Okay. But in short, I'm happy with Wano.
For the most part, I'm happy with it too. It's just, that whole, like I said, the whole thing of subverting expectations. I agree with you that we should have got the Wano we should have gotten was the Wano with Oden, but Orochi screwed all that up. And sidebar, It's all Toki's fault. It's all Toki's fault. Odin came back. Odin came back when he joined Roger's crew. Kinemon wanted to say something, and she said, "No, don't do it. Let him go. Let him do whatever it is he has to do to be the man he needs to be." For Roger and Whitebeard, or hell, just Whitebeard alone, especially following the Rocks incident, Roger would have pulled up and said, "Hey, Kaido, didn't I just beat your ass a couple years ago? Leave." That would have been the end of it. Or he could have gone back to the man, even after Roger died, he could have gone back to the man who considers him one of his sons. He could have gone back to Whitebeard and asked him, I need your help. Whitebeard even kept one of Odin's retainers, Izo. Now Whitebeard has two of his sons begging and pleading, "Please save my home." We saw what Whitebeard was willing to do for the one person that he considered his son. Hell, he was the son of the end of his old rival, and he just said, "Doesn't matter, you're my boy. I'm about to level an entire world government for you." I can only imagine what he was willing to do to Kaido for two of his crew members' their homeland. I blame Toki. I'm sorry.
Owen's in the chat. Don't you dare give Toki the Chi-Chi treatment.
Toki didn't do it as bad as Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi is trying to turn the world's the multiverse's greatest fighter into an office worker.
Into a paleontologist.
Exactly.
I don't even think they said what he studies. He's just a scholar.
No, not Gohan. I mean Goku.
Oh, right.
She already succeeded in turning one of the multiverse's greatest fighters into a freaking dad. Look at Gohan during the Buu saga. This is a sidebar on a sidebar. Yeah. Look at Gohan during the Buu saga when he was training with the Z sword compared to now, or before the Tournament of Power. He was skinny. He looked like he needed a sandwich. He looked like Master Roshi if he takes his shirt off. And Gon, I did not describe Gyukimaru exactly. If you've ever watched a series called Sengoku Basar, I believe it's Lord Ieyasu. I'm not 100%. But yeah, just look at any character from Sengoku Basar. I was expecting the Shogun to be somebody with that kind of resolve and that just loudness. Or if you wanted to make the Shogun a non-combatant, just a tactician. Ouji, I'm not sure if you've ever seen or read a series called Drifters.
No, but the name sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's famous characters from different time periods. When they die in our world, it's basically an isekai for like famous war figures like Oda Nobunaga, Tonoyasu, I can't remember his last name, Joan of Arc. Some people have speculated that the main villain is actually Jesus Christ because he's wearing a white robe and he has holes in his hands and he has a thorn crown. Yeah, people theorize that that's Jesus Christ. But Oda Nobunaga, he's an ultimate badass. When I say he's a badass, he's a badass. He carries around a rifle, but he is not really a fighter. He's the tactician. Let me see if I can find the image of him, because I know I have it saved on my PC somewhere, and now I have to wait for this folder to load. But yeah, you could have made Chi-Chi turn Gohan into Saiyaman. Jesus Christ. But yeah, crap. Yeah, see, Gohan, this is why I hate you, Gohan. You made me lose my train of thought again.
Oh, you were going to talk about expectations with the Warriors of Wano.
Oh yeah. No, I mean like literally just now. Crap. Oh yeah. If you were gonna make the Shogun a non-combatant, make him a super tactician, somebody who can predict a move before the game even starts. You know, somebody like that, and have one of the Straw Hats or somebody on our side have to play that mental chess game of the battlefield. You know, it's like a real time strategy game. I used to love those back in the day. I don't know why I fell off of it, but
So fun.
okay, yeah, I found it. Look in Room with No Mics on Discord. That's Oda Nobunaga. In my opinion, that aesthetic is beautiful. I would have loved. I would have loved for something like that to be Orochi. He's not much of a fighter. He's pretty much skinny, so you can still give him that. He looks tattered. He looks like he spends his days drinking and just enjoying the luxuries of life while still maintaining that I came from nothing kind of look. Give him a design like that, because the design that we've gotten, I feel like Oda is taking his goofy designs a little too far. We haven't really gotten much of for lack of a better term, hype design in a really long time. Don't get me wrong, I like Denjiro, but I would have liked it if he kept his normal face. Him and Kinemon look too much like Japanese paintings, and I get it, that's the point. But come on.
I hear you.
I like Kawamatsu, but at the same time, he's a fish man. No racism. At the same time, he's a fish man, and I just want my hype person. Kiku in the armor. Yeah, Kiku in the armor. That is amazing. I love it. I love it.
Oh, can we talk about just to cut you off real quick? Can we talk about how quick they ditched the samurai armor, the Straw Hats? They wore it for one chapter just to get it on the cover, and then real quick, done.
Yeah,
I was so pissed. I was like, are we not going to see Luffy fight Kaido in samurai armor? Like, are you for real?
Yeah,
like, don't
right?
get me wrong. It looks like Roger type look he's got going on right now. But did he really put on samurai armor in one chapter just to take it off the next chapter?
We got, like, what the hell happened with that? Brook, and Chopper were all decked out in samurai armor. I like that. I like that Luffy had his Ronin armor for a while. Then he went to prison and then he took the top of it down like Zoro does. But when he got the samurai armor, he could have at least kept it on up until we got to Onogashima. At least that. I mean, I get it. We're in the land of samurai, and I can't remember his name, but there was a European guy who sailed to Japan, and he was the first non-Japanese resident to earn the title of samurai. The entire first Neo game is about him. It's William something. It's William.
I know what you're talking about. I was exactly thinking Neo, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. So you know. I get, for the pirates, it's like that. Luffy even said it. When you're on land, you can fight the samurai, but out on the sea, you fight pirates. And Luffy is emphasizing that very fact. I'm a pirate in a Japanese land. I'm going to stand out. And I like that. But come on. Everybody in the community was expecting Luffy to throw on that samurai armor. When Luffy went to Thriller Bark, he found the knight armor and he wore it longer than he had that samurai armor on.
That's true.
And it's heartbreaking. Gon said the actual Nobunaga is a character I expect to see in Wano, but I'm happy Oda gave us a rendition of the actual Yamato. I actually don't know that much about Japanese history. I can tell you pretty much everything about pirate history. Benjamin Hornigold, Jack Rackham. If you want to know anything about them, hell, I'll tell you. As a matter of fact, Benjamin Hornigold, when I'm arguing positions on the Straw Hat crew, people tell me, oh, we can, somebody can join and be, like the magician. That's not an actual position on the pirate crew. Oh, but we can have a musician, because pirates actually sing. I don't remember pirates doing card tricks to entertain each other. Oh, but an archaeologist isn't a position on the pirate crew. That's actually not true. Pirates used to kidnap scholars or just straight up employ them to read off hieroglyphs from Aztec ruins in order to find out where these interesting and famous people were buried to rob their graves. Because if you don't know, just like in some Egyptian culture, they would, like, important people would be buried with very, very valuable things: gold, jewels, hell, even weapons in some cases. That's how Benjamin Hornigold actually made a lot of his fortune before he died. He would rob Aztec ruins. Like, he'd rob graves. It's an interesting culture. I like pirates, samurai, and cowboys. But if I had to put them in order, pirates, and then the whole, I think it's just because of aesthetic. Cowboys, and then there's the samurai. I don't know that much about Japanese culture. All I know is what I know from anime. I apologize if that comes off a little ignorant. I'm so sorry. Super
Oh
sorry.
man, I wish I knew more about Japanese culture, but to tie it back to the topic, Oda's done a very good job of tying like the very like apparent Japanese culture. So should Kaido have had a different arc? I think it makes perfect sense the way Oda set it up because are you familiar with this like actual story of Momotaro?
Yes, I am. The
And
the the parallels that people have made, the parallels that people have made between the story of Momotaro and Momonosuke have been endless.
and then also just they literally in the story of Momotaro, they literally go to the island of Oni ogres. So what does that translate to? Onigashima. So it's a very obvious parallel, but it also ties in thematically to what Oda's trying to do with the New World Saga, which is you have this conflict between someone who doesn't seem that powerful, like a young boy, but who fights for what he believes in, versus these giant brutes who are this power incarnate, like Kaido. So it's a good use of the story, and I don't think you could have had Kaido better placed. I don't think there was a better setting for Kaido than to have him Wano in Onigashima.
Yeah, the execution of it isn't what I have an issue with, because like I said, my expectations for Wano versus what we got is what really kind of destroyed it for me. I was expecting to come to and I would have been okay with the idea that Wano was Kaido's territory. I was just, for the most part, expecting Kaido to not be here, because like I said, I was expecting the Shogun to be a monstrous force for Zoro, and when we get here, we have to deal with him, and then that draws out Kaido. If Wano was its own arc, if Wano itself was its own arc, and when you remember when X Drake first confronted Scotch, right? Scotch said this
Yeah,
is Kaido's favorite winter island. If that was Onogashima and Kaido was on Onogashima, I would have been absolutely fine with that. It's not the islands. It's not the arc that I have an issue with. It's the islands. You know, Onogashima could have been Kaido's arc versus Kaido, whereas Wano could have been about just us dealing with the Shogun, dealing with the Shogun and freeing Wano, helping Momonosuke, helping Kinemon and everyone. But from what we have, I have a lot less complaints about the arc than I initially did from my expectations. But I would have still liked it if we had gotten Wano in a separate altercation away from Kaido. If you know what I mean? Where
yeah. I think part of the problem with One Piece now is I think if Oda wanted to make One Piece like another 20 years longer, he would, and he would just do it how, like, if he could just do One Piece in his free time with no commercial influence whatsoever, that's probably what he would have done. But it ties into a lot of the pacing issues with 102. I think Oda has reached a certain point where he has too many ideas and he has too much set up, and he needs to wrap it up. So it's come to a point where it's like, okay, I need to do certain things, but I also need to do it in a timely manner. So he needs to sort of walk both paths at the same time. And I would argue he's done a good job of doing what fans have been hoping for, but at the same time doing it in a timely manner. Because I think if he did, like you're suggesting, a whole arc for the Shogun and the Samurai, and then a whole another arc for Kaido and Onigashima, like we'd still be having One Piece like 10 years down the line.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like you just said, if Oda wanted to make this a longer series, he absolutely would. He's even openly come out and said he no matter everything that he does for in the story as he goes on, he's constantly adding things that makes the story longer, and which is why a few years ago when he said we're at when one of the editors said that we're like at 70% of the story, and Oda said no, it's more like 65 or something like that. And sometime afterwards, I believe, crap. Ooh. Oh man,
He said something like 5 years. He's
yeah.
like, yeah, it's probably 5 more years.
Yeah. Recently, he said we got about 5 more years. I apologize for me like stopping. It's getting like really, really hot in here. Jesus. Yeah, but he said it's like he'd like to end the story in 5 years. I don't think that is actually going to happen. I feel like we have it maybe 7 to 8 years left. I'm not gonna push it and say like, oh, we have another 10 years left. No, I think we have maybe about another 7 to 10, maybe 6 to 10, maybe 6 to 7 or 6 to 8.
I think that sounds reasonable.
Yeah, maybe like 7 to 8 years left of One Piece. And the comment that was made recently of it's a good time to get into One Piece and like start it from the beginning because we're gonna be approaching the final arc very soon. I feel like that was either a mistranslation or a really, really poor choice of words. Like a really poor choice of words. Instead of saying arc, it should have been saga, because an arc means, like Arlong Park or Alabasta.
Yeah, I think they meant saga, but yeah.
Yeah, and I just don't think that it's reasonable to assume that we only have like, like 5 years left. I think it's more. I mean, if anything, I'd say that's a bare minimum. Like that's a bare minimum 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years would definitely be cutting. 5 years is okay. We finish Wano in like, I don't know, like 2 years maybe, and then that gives you like 3 years, 3.5 years, excuse me, to do your final arc. But that's assuming like that's it. We go straight from Wano right to, I don't know, Marineford 2, whatever you want to call it.
Because we still, in my opinion, these are the places, like some places we absolutely have to go. We have to go to Elbaf because it's been mentioned so much, and one of Usopp's, like, I guess you'd say sub dreams is to go to Elbaf at some point. Luffy is interested in the Giants. He wants to go to Elbaf. Big Mom has ties to Elbaf. We even have a section of our Grand Fleet that is based in Elbaf. We have done, like, the Straw Hats have done so much for the Giants indirectly that I feel like we had no choice but to get there. Elbaf, I feel like we have to go to Lodestar, even though going to Lodestar is where they found out you need to find the road poneglyphs. It's also where a large portion of history is. Robin may actually need to get there, and on top of it, Nami wants to chart the entire world, including the Grand Line, and Lodestar is the last island in the Grand Line. There's no way she's going to miss out on mapping that island. That's already two things right there. And then we may have to go to some of the islands that make the intersection from where the road poneglyphs meet. We may have to go to some of those islands, and then we're gonna head to Raftel, find the One Piece, and then the big world war happens. That's already bare minimum 5 different islands that we have to get to. And unless Wano ends like tomorrow or before this year is up, and that 5-year deadline starts in 2021, and we spend 1 year on each of those islands, and then the big world war is that last year, which I don't think that Oda is going to just condense everything that he did, that he wants for the World War in the same time span of what was it, like less than Dressrosa?
No, I think it would take roughly 2 years for whatever that final big battle is.
Yeah, because I don't want a world war. I don't want a war like Naruto's final arc. No, in my opinion, that wasn't a war. That was a giant battle. And yeah, it was a war, as in like it happened across multiple different countries, but that was just a big battle. This world, this world war, and Whitebeard said it is a war that will encompass the entire planet, which means there's going to be multiple factions. There are going to be people who are in it for themselves, and then there's the big main goal. Somebody has the One Piece. People are going to be fighting for that freaking treasure. There's going to be people who want what Luffy has, and then there's the world government who wants to take it away. And on top of it, there are the ancient weapons. We have to tie all of that, and that's not even everything. We have to tie all of that up in the course of 5 years. I don't see that as being very likely. So I think that we have at least 7 to 8 years. 5 years being the bare minimum. And
you touched on. Go ahead.
Oh no! That was it. I was just wrapping up.
No, you touched on a lot of what I was going to say. Was we have Elbaf. Elbaf has been hyped up like since very early One Piece. So although I don't think it's out of the question for Oda to just be like, yeah, we're not going there, I think that would be a major disappointment. So I think even
if it's just a transition arc or just a place that we stop by and just get a little exposition like Zoe, I feel like we still have to go.
Yeah, for sure. I'm on the same page. But then we have Elbaf. We have you brought up the thing with Nami. We have the poneglyphs. We don't know what the situation is going to be with the poneglyphs after Wano, because anything could happen. But they need to do the poneglyphs because, that's how you get the One Piece.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize for cutting you off. But speaking of the poneglyphs, we still have to find that missing poneglyph.
Yep, I was thinking the same thing because there's still one where nobody knows where it is. It was supposedly in the Odin flashback. It was just chilling out in
Wasn't it on Fishman Island? Like next
when they went
to the
there,
poneglyph.
They didn't find the road poneglyph. They just found, I think it was the one from Joy Boy.
Yeah, it was one. There were in the Odin flashback. There were 2 poneglyphs on Fishman Island.
And one of them was a road poneglyph, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Now either Whitebeard took that one and hid it somewhere, and nobody knows where it is now, or it's the one that is the one that Big Mom took. But I don't think that's likely because Whitebeard still controlled Fishman Island. So that and Big Mom probably had her own road poneglyph. So that was probably the missing one. Because if you remember, during Roger's journey, they had the one in Fishman Island, and then Odin and Nekomamushi both said, we have 2 of those. We have those red ones on our islands. So that's 3 of them right there. The 4th one, I think that's the one that Big Mom had, because remember, Roger said that he went into Totland. Something happened with Big Mom, and he escaped with that information, right? So that's all 4 road right there. So the one in Fishman Island is the missing poneglyph. Nobody knows where it is, even though it was on Fishman Island.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what's done with that, because it could be by some odd coincidence Whitebeard took that one and he put it in his home village, and then Marco just pulls a sneaky little move and he's like, oh yeah, by the way, it's cool that we got to fight Kaido, but I was actually bringing you a scratch and sniff of the poneglyph that was in this little bullshit village the whole time. Here you go.
Oh, that's another island that I think that we might have to visit. Whitebeard's home island. It's it's not just Whitebeard's resting place. It's Ace's grave. Unless we get there in an epilogue of One Piece, and you know, and we just open up with Luffy like 5 years later paying his respects to Ace as the Pirate King, and he just walks off. I think we might have to go there. I honestly think we might actually need to go there as a transitional arc. Not because I don't see anything major happening on there unless, holy shit, I forgot about Weevil. See, and this is one of the things that keep popping into my head. This is one of those things that keep popping in my head that comes and goes. There are so many things and different and like plot points and subplots in One Piece that it's hard to keep track, and you really don't think about it until you think about it.
Right. I don't see, only because I feel like Oda doesn't want to get too stuck in like doing a bunch of different stuff before whatever the final arc is. I feel like they won't go visit Ace's grave. I feel like it'll probably be made a point at some point, like maybe in, I don't know, like the last 3 chapters at some of One Piece at some sort of epilogue, and then we see Luffy go to his grave, kind of like Sabo did. But I don't think it's going to happen right after Wano, just for time's sake.
Yeah.
Oh crap! What did we say other than that? Oh, yeah, that's all I had to say.
Okay, I feel like we just covered 2 of these topics in one go. The expectations for the Shogun before and after the reveal, and the whole Kaido and Wano, should they have been separate arcs. And we even went on a little sidebar. And we're already at an hour and a half. This is the part where this is the part that I found the most. This is the topic that I'm most interested in. And you know, it's the different outcome for Yamato. After Wano, where do you see her? Well, he ending up. I apologize to anybody in the chat who's a little sensitive about that. For the remainder of this discussion, we will be referring to Yamato as a he to avoid any kind of confusion. Okay? There we go. But you have a video.
Everyone go check it out.
Everybody please go check out that video. As a matter of fact, I'll post it in the freaking chat as soon as I get back to YouTube. My vision is kind of spinning right now. It is hot in this room. Oh man, I don't even have my lights on. It's just that hot.
It's just raw.
Yeah,
it's just raw. Sniper Island.
But yeah, that's another island that I'm hoping for. Freaking Sniper Island.
Yeah, it's in our hearts. We already went there.
Yeah, Jesus man, Oda. I apologize. Subverting expectations and false advertising. When Luffy got his first bounty, Zoro himself said, with a bounty that high, because people don't believe me when I tell them 5 million berry bounties is actually high. In the East, in the Blues, 5 million is high, because I think it was revealed in one of the data books, the average starting bounty for any criminal is 200,000. Not million, 200,000. That is high in the Blues. I mean, no, that is the starting bounty in the Blues for a criminal. Because not all criminals in the world of One Piece can blow away a mountain with the flick of the wrist. Right. Okay, some of them actually just hold people up at gunpoint. Now, when Luffy got his first bounty of 30 freaking million, I want you to think about the number 30 million in comparison to 200,000. Zoro said, and I quote, "With a bounty that high, we're going to have Marines and bounty hunters of all kinds. And with a bounty that high, you can bet they'll be strong." Where are the bounty hunters, Oda? Where are my bounty hunters, Oda?
Yeah, nobody really came for them.
Exactly. What was the point of giving us these massive bounties if we didn't get in? The only bounty hunter worthwhile was Daddy Masterson, and technically he's not canon. Because he wasn't in the manga, but he was in the anime, but he was also in the light novel version of Logtown that Oda wrote. So is he canon? Is he not? Daddy Masterson was interesting. He had a pass with Yasop. I feel like he could have been a very, very nice Marine counter to Usopp. Very nice Marine counter. Just like, well, I'm not going to say just like Zoro has to Shigi, but you get my point.
Mm.
I would have liked, I want to see my bounty hunters.
I just remembered what I was going to say, if you're all set with your point.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, we got Elbath.
Yeah.
We got Nami. Mm-hmm. We got poneglyphs. But the other thing that's sitting in the background that I feel like it's going to be the first thing that's addressed, like as soon as, assuming they win this battle against Kaido, like the first thing we're going to see is what the hell happened with Vivi and Sabo, because that's still like unanswered.
I'm not sure if you saw it, but I think like my final crew my final crew. Oh my god, my mouth is so dry.
It's all that heat.
Yeah, right. My final crew prediction actually does include Vivi. I was intending to make a video on it. I think I still can. I just have to rewrite the script a little bit, which I might not even do because it sounds robotic. During the Reverie, there was a confirmed death, an attempted assassination. I think the confirmed death was most likely King Cobra, because during the whole revolutionary, declaration of war, the world government took that opportunity to kill King Cobra, who brought up a topic that the world government just does not want spoken at all. The topic is taboo. Don't talk about it or you die. And Cobra died. The attempted assassination was probably on Vivi, but the world government spun it in a different way, and they probably said something different, and now Vivi is branded a traitor. She is now on the run, and I think that by the end of the next arc, which I think is a transition, like a little cooldown, Vivi is going to make her way back to the Straw Hat Pirates.
Okay.
And a lot of people have brought up the question to me is, why wouldn't she just stick with the revolutionaries? They're about liberating countries and all that. Because one, Vivi does not know the revolutionaries. She doesn't know the means to the end. She doesn't know what their means to the end is. She doesn't know what Dragon is willing to do to accomplish that goal. For all she knows, he's willing to unleash the Black Plague on a kingdom who isn't willing to follow him. So, and I'd rather go with the people I know I'd rather go with the friends I know than the ones I don't. You get what I mean? Even like that
makes a lot of sense.
Like that, like she knows that that's Luffy's brother, that Sabo's Luffy's brother, and that Dragon is Luffy's father, but she doesn't know them from a bag of dirt. Sabo may be willing to help her get to Luffy, but I don't think that she would be willing to join the revolutionaries. Not at all.
So then, what do you think happened with Sabo? Because supposedly he got killed, but do you think he's actually dead, or do you think that's another story?
Well, they actually didn't even confirm whether Sabo died. Everyone was just freaking out at the newspaper that they were seeing, and Dragon said, "We can't take anything as 100%. Wait until we get confirmation and we can establish communication with them again." Maybe Sabo got captured, but what I don't want is for us to have to go through Marineford 2.0 again. I don't want to have a second Marineford. As amazing as Marineford was, I would not like for us to just repeat those events, because if you look at the way Oda structures his arcs, they're kind of similar, like very similar. We have to defeat big bad guy in a certain amount of time, otherwise bad thing will happen. In Alabasta, we had to beat Crocodile and stop that time bomb before it blew up the plaza. In Skypiea, we had to defeat NL before the ship completely charged and destroyed everything. In Dressrosa, beat Doflamingo before the birdcage closed in. In his lobby, we had to beat Lucci and save Robin before she made it to the Gates of Justice. Otherwise, we'd never see her again. You know,
Hmm.
where everything is on a time frame. Hell, even in Marineford, we have to get to Ace before they execute him, otherwise he dies. And like I said, I loved Marineford, but I just would not want us to go back and have to repeat that. The world's strongest man, we're replacing that for the world's most wanted man. Now we have Dragon. Instead of the son of Gold Roger, we have the son of this fuck off world noble. But it's still Luffy's older brother with a fire fruit.
Hmm.
The only difference is I feel like Luffy would succeed in saving him just to redeem himself from, for not being able to save Ace. But at the same time, why didn't you just let him save Ace? And I get it. It's Ace's character. He turned around, but I still think Ace was pretty freaking stupid for turning around because Akainu made a yo daddy joke. He made a yo daddy so weak joke that the era isn't called Whitebeard. Like really, that's what made you turn around?
It wasn't the smartest move, Ace. What are you doing? That's not Yonko Commander stuff.
He spent the better half of that war reflecting on his life and crying because everyone was dying for his sake. Your little brother broke into the prison, lost years off of his life, and now he's
never done before, by the way.
It's never done before. Never. Only one time. No, only one person ever broke out.
Broke out the entire prison.
Yeah, Luffy broke hundreds of people out of that prison that day. And now he saved you. He punched your grandfather in the face. You know what happened when I accidentally punched my grandfather in his pecs? He punched me in my arm. I couldn't feel my arm for a couple days. And Whitebeard, your father, the man you look up to the most, told you, go. My last wish, my last command to you as your captain is for you to get the hell out of here. Go home. Leave. The street lights are on. Go in the house. And Ace said, no. He made a joke. I have to defend your honor. No, you don't. No, you don't. What happened last time you disobeyed Whitebeard for his honor? You ended up captured, and now hundreds of people are dead because of you. I apologize about that tangent. It's just
No, it's all good.
Ace is like one of my favorite characters in the entire series.
One of the biggest meathead moves ever.
Yeah, and believe it or not, that meathead move, that idiotic move, is what makes him one of my favorite characters. He's not flawed. He has flaws, and that's what makes him so good. But Jesus, God, that was stupid.
I actually love that you brought this up and I feel bad because you were going to talk about my video and what I said about Yamato, and we kind of took a gigantic turn.
And I apologize about that.
I'm actually glad that we went this way because this ties back. So earlier you said, Luffy should go to Ace's grave and have sort of like a final moment just to sort of come to terms with everything that happened, because he never really got to sit down, have a drink of sake and be like, all right, he's dead, he's good, this is it, he's never coming back. However, I don't think they're going to go to his grave. But so I did a video. What we have right now is a bunch of people in Wano who all knew Ace. We have Luffy, we have Yamato.
We have the better half of the Straw Hat Pirates, because remember, they met him in Alabasta.
Well, the other thing is we have Luffy already. So this is what I'll say. Tama met Ace, but knows almost nothing about his life outside of Wano. Yamato met Ace, but it's weird because it seems like somehow, one way or another, Yamato met Ace, and somehow Yamato and Tama don't seem to know each other at all. That's something that I would like to see talked about, but remember, Yamato was confined to Onogashima. If he left that island,
those cups would have
That's
exploded, and Tama was in Curry, and
very,
she
yeah.
was pretty much afraid to leave that area.
But who we do have in Wano right now, and I did a video on this, we have Marco. So what I would like to see, this is a bunch of different stuff, but what I would like to see is sort of like a sit down. Maybe Luffy is a part of it, but maybe he isn't. Luffy seems like he's like made his peace with Ace, but he could be. I would love to see Marco meet Tama because as we know about Marco, Marco has a huge sense of responsibility and goes out of his way to make sure like everything about his family is taken care of. So if he finds out, if he finds out that Tama knew Ace and that Ace really cared about her, he's going to sit down with her. He's going to be like, hey, look, he was my brother. He's my family. And he's going to like talk to her and he'll be like, oh, so you never knew about how he went to this island. He went on all of these events. And then Tama can have, because she wanted to leave Wano and go on adventures with Ace, and she never got that. But so what I said in my video was if she can meet Marco and he can tell her about all the adventures he went on, how great of a pirate he was, that can be sort of like a closure for Thomas. She can be like, all right, I didn't get to go be a pirate, but you know what? It makes me happy that Ace had a good life. And I think that would be a really sweet moment for like just the greater story because Ace has this huge legacy and the Whitebeard Pirates were such a big family. I would love to see that.
See, yeah, and that is another really, really like character defining moment that a lot of people tend to just gloss over. Myself included. Whereas instead of going that route, we just say Luffy fulfills Ace's promise to Tama, and she joins the crew, and now she's going out. Whereas the scenario that you just posed, that seems a lot more impactful because, like you said, Marco sitting down and giving her that closure and telling the story of what Ace is. Imagine if she actually met the remnants of the Whitebeard Pirates, the people Ace defeated and became family to him.
Right.
I'm not sure if you've ever read the Ace novels, but what if Mass Deuce, Ace's very first crew member and and oldest friend, aside from Sabo, of course, and oldest friend is actually still alive and still among the remnants of the Whitebeard Pirates? What if the person that was on the ship that was talking to Marco and them, even though Marco said, so this is the issue that you guys been dealing with in Wano, which implies that person is from Wano. But regardless, imagine if she met Mass Deuce, Ace's old vice captain of the Spade Pirates and oldest friend. He met him back in the East Blue and was with him all the way through up until he died because the Spade Pirates were integrated into the Whitebeard Pirates. If she met him and Marco and they just sat down and just reminisced about Ace with her, I feel like that would be a more of an emotional moment rather than she joins the Straw Hats and Luffy fulfills the promise that Ace made to her. What if she moves beyond the promise that Ace made to her? What if she still becomes that Kunoichi, but now she has a different goal rather than I want to go out and adventure the world. Now she knows Ace's life. She understands the adventures he had and the hardships, but now her goal is to help rebuild. I guess you could. I'm not gonna say it's exactly like Vivi, but something like Vivi. Her goal is I want to rebuild my home to its former glory. Ace wanted to make his own legacy. Ace wanted to be better than his father. I want to make my own legacy here, and I want to rebuild my home even better than what it was when Odin was here. When Odin was here. Momonosuke wants to be the shogun. I want to help him make this better than what his father was. He wants to be his own person. He is Momonosuke Kozuki, not the son of Odin. I would absolutely love if Tama actually sat down with Marco. Now that you
Yeah,
pose that, I would 100% love for Tama to sit down with Marco and actually have a one-on-one with him.
yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. And I think I would actually be kind of disappointed if Oda went to the trouble of bringing Marco and Izo, for that matter, to Wano, and Tama meets neither of them. I think that'd be really disappointing. So I think even if it's like one panel and Marco's just like, "Oh, hey, you knew Ace? Hey, look, I'm sorry what happened to him. It's kind of my fault. I should have been there to save him. But you know what? He lived a good life." Like even if it's just one panel, like that's all
Could
I
you
need.
imagine? Could you imagine if they have a similar like Carrot and Sanji moment where,
Mhm.
Marco is apologizing to her for not doing more to save Ace, and he breaks down, and now she's the one comforting him, telling him he lived a great life. Like don't mourn what he was. Don't
Uh,
mourn because he's gone. Celebrate what he was. Oh my god, I absolutely love that idea.
and that's why I did a whole video on it because
If you
I think it would be
haven't,
great for your characters.
okay, give me 1 second. It's already in the description. If you have
It's part of my
not,
channel.
if you
I do videos
haven't
like that
been,
all the time.
if you haven't been on OG's channel, please go stalk his page, like all of his videos, subscribe. There are 18 people in here. Please subscribe to the channel, to his
Also,
channel.
guys, all of you 18 people, make sure to like the stream. We got 2 likes.
I'm in all honesty, I'm not really all that concerned with the like to dislike ratio. It's really more of the rewatch, and yeah, it's really just more of the rewatch thing that I'm looking forward to, and that's all I'm trying to get is the views for the rewatch.
I'm glad you brought up my videos though, because let's
Oh yeah,
let's
we're
take it
still
back to what we
yeah.
tried to talk about like an hour ago.
We've been
Um,
on that. We've been on that sidebar for literally 15 minutes. I apologize. Let's move on to the original topic: the necessity of a new crew member, and the possibility of and possible outcomes for Yamato. Ouji has a video on his channel posing a different outcome of Yamato rather than just joining the crew. As you can understand from that sidebar that we just had, he can come up with other possibilities for characters rather than just them joining the crew. I never would have thought of the idea of Tama and Marco having a sit down. But OG, please explain your idea of where you could see Yamato going after the Wano arc, and the just the possibility outside of joining the crew. I'm going to mute my mic to give you the floor because I'm going to squeal like a little girl because I absolutely love this idea. I still would like Yamato to join. I put it in the Discord. That's my final Straw Hat crew. Aside from the Grand Fleet, this is my Grand Fleet, but I think Boa might come and command them. But that's neither here nor there. Yeah, I'm going to give you the floor, OG. Go ahead.
yeah, so just to give some context, I think a lot of One Piece fans, they like to rest on forced parallels. One example of this was when we saw, I think it was right around the chapter where we saw Kobe go to Boa. There was a lot of talk of like, is Kobe like Luffy's Garp? And One Piece fans like to really rest on parallels. So, and I think part of why so many people want to see Yamato as a Straw Hat is there's the parallel. That's a fun word to say over and over again. Um, with Odin and Roger and Luffy and either Momonosuke or Yamato. But here's my thing. So my first thought was, okay, assuming that Morgeman is wrong and the Alliance wins, you're going to have a very weird situation where this island that was for 20 or so years controlled by a Yonko is suddenly has no shogun and has no Yonko controlling it. The only thing that was keeping the world government away from Wano was the threat of Kaido and not wanting to waste all of its resources on a war with Wano, i.e., Kaido. So, what would happen? First of all, you would have what is the world government going to do? Assuming the world government does what they do in every arc, like Alabasta when they showed up and arrested Baroque Works, are they really just going to show up and arrest 500, 600 plus pirates? Like, that seems insane. Like, they're really going to show up and just in like 1 second arrest like 600 pirates? I don't see that happening. What I see happening um, is you have Yamato. Yamato's thing is he's trying to be like Odin, but he doesn't really get, and I thought he would be more on the same page since he read the journal, but he seems to be like literally trying to follow what Odin did. But I think what will happen with Yamato is Yamato will see, oh, I get it. Odin wanted to go see the world, but then he got to the point where he's like, okay, this is my mission. I have to protect Wano. I don't necessarily want to be the one to do it, but clearly I'm the one that has to do it. So I think Yamato is going to have a similar thing where he wanted to go out because that's what Odin did, but then he's going to see, okay, Luffy just took out the Beast Pirates. They were holding Wano together. I'm the only Beast Pirate left, assuming the commanders all get taken out. It looks like I got to be the one to do it. So I think, and it's possible that Yamato could become the shogun. I don't know because Yamato's. I don't know how the people of Wano would see Yamato because Yamato seems like he hasn't really been like a jerk to the people of Wano because he's been trapped. But what I see happening is this: Yamato either becomes shogun and he rules the Beast Pirates, because I think it would be kind of stupid if the Marines just suddenly very easily arrested 500 pirates, 600 pirates. I don't see that happening. Yamato becomes shogun, or like servant retainer to the shogun, whether it's Hiyori or Momonosuke. And then you have the situation where you have a shogun and all the samurai and whatever ninja is working for them. And then you also have what used to be Kaido, now Yamato, leading the former remnants of the Beast Pirates. So then that way you have the same order and protection that Kaido brought, but now you have proper leaders that are going to look out for the people of their country. And at the same time, this is consistent with Yamato's desire to be like Odin, because Odin wanted to open up Wano. And it would be the perfect way to make sure Wano doesn't get used like the world government would probably want to. And that's it.
I like the idea of Yamato, taking over the Beast Pirates and actually using them as a force to help rebuild Wano, or continue the structure of Wano. Personally, I do like the idea of Yamato joining the crew. Feel like he's a relatively strong character, but not even just that. And I know you said people in the community like to rely on forced parallels. I don't, but in this case, I really do like the parallel of Yamato wanting to be similar to Odin. What I don't think he's going to do is, I don't think that Yamato is going to take over as the title of Shogun. But like I said, God, excuse me. Now I got the hiccups. But like I said, I do really like the idea. I really, really like the idea.
Mm-hmm.
The person that I see running Wano, post Wano, is Hiyori, because if you look at the stream, I have my final Straw Hat prediction crew up. I do think that Momonosuke is going to leave, and similar to his father, I think traveling with the Straw Hats is going to make him a better person and a better leader for Wano, because if you look back at instances in the story, he says that he wants to be the shogun. He says that he's going to be a strong man or a brave person, but in a lot of instances he's not being brave. Well, he's been making strides toward this arc, but he has been being brave prior to this. And when it comes to the responsibility of controlling Wano, he really doesn't understand what that really entails. Just look at back in the Udon prison when all of the prisoners bowed down to him, that weight hit him like a ton of bricks, or more, or in more of a One Piece term, it hit him like a sea king. It hit him hard, and he was left speechless. He doesn't know what it means to be a leader, or to rule a country. I I would argue is to say that at the end of Alabasta, Vivi knew more about what it means to lead a country than Momonosuke, and it's understandable. He's only 8 years old, and he traveled 20 years into the future. His sister had time to grow up. She was in Wano during its decline. She knows what it means to pretty much starve. She's seen what the piece of crap citizens of her country have become. Look at all of the people that she's been scamming out of their livelihoods. They were all shit people. And I feel like she understands what it would mean to go from, greatness down to the absolute bottom. So she would know how to bring Wano back to its former glory, and hell, maybe even make it better. And that's why I think Momonosuke is going to go out. He may want to be the Shogun. I am not for Momo Nakama. Static, you think Tama's gonna join? She has no reason to go out.
No.
Ace told her, "I'll take you out when you become a bewitching kunoichi." She ain't nowhere near becoming a full-fledged ninja. No, absolutely not. Back on what I was saying, these points are mostly in my argument for Momonosuke joining, and I'm not 100% saying that, Yamato is going to join, because I could 100% see your scenario playing out, but instead of Yamato being the Shogun, it's Hiyori, and Yamato, well, if you look at it like the Hokage system in Naruto was the Hokage, and Sasuke was essentially the shadow Hokage. He dealt with all of the underbelly of it. Hiyori is the Shogun, and Yamato is pretty much just the right hand, the person who deals with all of the bullshit, the day-to-day, the invaders, other pirates. Or they could run it together. I could 100% see that happening. The two of them running Wano as a group. The outsiders and the people who hail from Wano. I could 100% see that happening. But my personal bias and my headcanon has Yamato on the Straw Hat Pirates.
The other thing I thought about that I didn't mention in my video was, okay, so even if Yamato stays behind to lead the remnants of the Beast Pirates, are the Beast Pirates really just going to want to be like, okay, yeah, let's be nice now? In my video, I said, well, they're going to take that over getting arrested and whatever happens to Kaido. But the other thing that I thought of afterwards is we have Tama literally with one of the most ridiculous devil fruit powers, like the most conveniently, like, coincidental devil fruits. I don't think it's going to be used against Kaido, but what I see happening is a repeat of what happened with Speed, where Kaido's grunts are a potential problem. So what happens is, if they're non-compliant, there's like this big thing, kind of like what happened after Dressrosa, where you had what's her name, Man Sherry. She used her tears on everyone in Dressrosa that was injured. You see Tama giving Dango to all of Kaido's grunts, so then that way maybe Tama could train under Yamato. Maybe that could be a thing. But Tama using her devil fruit to sort of subdue the remnants of the Beast Pirates, and then that's how they come to serve Wano in the Shogun.
Static just brought up an interesting point. Maybe the Beast Pirates might want to go back to other pirate crews. If Kaido gets taken down, and like we said earlier in the stream, when an emperor gets taken down, the world fucking moves. It shifts. The balance of power and everything shifts. If Kaido gets taken down, and every single one of these previous pirate captains, or if these people were a part of other pirate crews, see the person who was at the very top of their oppression, the person who broke their spirit, their will to fight, if they see that person get taken down, that might actually renew their it might reignite that fire for them to continue on. Now you just freed a lot more pirates, and now it's engulfing the world in more chaos. I feel like that's another possible outcome.
Oh, for sure. That makes a lot of sense when you put
So
it that way.
yeah, so now you don't have to arrest 500 pirates. You're arresting a small portion of them. It's still a huge arrest when it comes to Marines, but at the same time, I don't think that Wano is going to be willing to pay that heavenly tribute to the Celestial Dragons. And if the world government doesn't like that, they may actually try and take them out because they believe they have nothing to protect. They believe that Wano has nothing to protect them except Yamato, the remnants of the beast pirates who decided to fall in line under Yamato, the samurai of Wano who are still alive and willing to continue to fight for Wano. You know, Wano remains its own separate country, much like Amazon Lily, but it's now, like I said, under the rule of Hiyori and Yamato, and they're rebuilding at that point. And the idea of Tama training under Yamato, I could see that. I could.
Yeah, I think it'd be a fun idea.
Yeah, training under Yamato, but still getting the Kunoichi training, or the ninja training from, you know, Raizo or whatever other ninja are in Wano. Because if you remember back at the bathhouse, well, not at the bathhouse, but when they were rounding up all of the prisoners to put them in the town square, there was another ninja on our side, but we never found out their name. It was a guy, and he was. Yeah, I'll see if I can find the panel, but yeah, he was scoping out the top of the top of the rooftop. He was scoping the rooftops and reporting back to Shinobu. Kozuki family. I'll see if I can find it, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Where the hell is Wano? I'm on the wiki trying to navigate to Wano country from different links, but yeah, I think I found it. Let me see if I can find the citizens though. And but when I can, I'll put it in the Discord, or it. Jesus Christ, we're already past the 2-hour mark. Okay, but yeah, that's a different look at where Yamato could possibly end up post Wano, if not joining the Straw Hats. I like the idea, and I'm definitely sticking to the idea of Marco having that sit down with Tama, and I don't think Tama is going to continue on with her I want to go out to sea thing anymore. I think she's going to, you know, come to the realization that Ace lived a full life,
right.
and like the life that I want to live is gonna have to be my own, not just following after Ace, not just chasing after him. And I feel like she's going to have a renewed dream after that.
Right.
I really like
totally
that idea, man. Inhabitants. Okay, I found the inhabitants, but these people
might be under Kozuki retainers.
Yeah, I'll find it. I definitely will. Flower capital. I'm seeing a bunch of people. Curry citizens. Other. Okay, I'm seeing Yamato. No. What the hell? What the hell? I'm not seeing it. Shimotsuki family. Oh yeah. Kozuki retainers. Who the hell are you? Kozuki family. Yeah, I'm not seeing him, but I do remember what he looked like. I'll find it at some point and I'll put it in Discord. I just have to go back through some of the old chapters. But all right, we're gonna wrap up in not very long. We're on like 2 hours and 10 minutes. Next arc predictions. I'm not sure, Ouji. I'm not sure if you wanna start it up or if you want me to.
I mean, honestly, we kind of already talked a lot about it, but a very epic voice crack I just had. We got to go get the poneglyphs. We should go to Elbaf. It's possible Oda might skip it, just be like, yeah, I don't have time, but I don't see that happening.
Yeah, that.
Um,
Yeah, the main thing I'm referring to is like literally the next arc, the next island that we head to after Wano.
I feel like it's got to be Elbaf because I feel like I don't really see them doing much else besides. Because in my head, I have it. They got to have some sort of transition arc, but in my head, I have it as soon as Wano ends, they're gonna have like the consequences of the reverie thrown in their face. They're gonna find out Vivi is wherever she is and she's in peril. They're gonna find out, I don't know, something happened with Sabo. Like they're gonna be like, "Yay, we did it! We saved Wano!" And then someone's gonna be like, "Oh, by the way, all this shit happened and the world is upside down, and you gotta go fix it." But hey, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I see the next arc. Like, in all honesty, somebody brought this up to me. I think it was Eric from the Red Force podcast. He brought up the fact that every Straw Hat has that celebration to welcome them into the crew.
Right.
Jinbei hasn't had his. He
Mm-hmm.
absolutely didn't. Some people argue he had it in Fishman Island. No, they celebrated the saving of Fishman Island, and
Right.
but Jinbei ultimately said, "Not yet, not right now." In this arc, they literally started Onogashima by stealing some sake, going, "Let's toast Jinbei. Wait, you know what? Let's hold off on it. After we're done with this, then we'll do it." I feel like the next party we get to welcome in the crew member is going to be the last one, because like I said, my full Straw Hat prediction is the last few people is Vivi returning, Momonosuke, Jinbei, and Yamato. So the next island that we go to, I could 100% see them just going to a deserted island where they sit down, and it's just the Straw Hats, no allies, no Grand Fleet. Well, if the Grand Fleet does show up, I guess technically they are a part of the Straw Hat crew. I mean, they're under the Straw Hat flag, but just the Straw Hat Pirates, literally just them on an island that's pretty much deserted. So I guess you could if you it was I guess you could say it's like the island that they first met Aokiji on in the anime, because in the manga Aokiji was on Long Ring Longland. He wasn't on just some random, like, just out of the way island. I could 100% see them in a cool down transition period. They're just on a random deserted island, just cooling down, pouring sake, and toasting all of the Straw Hat Pirates finally together for the umpteenth time. And we already know that news coups fly around with newspapers and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Nami subscribes to this newspaper. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure how they know where these people are. That's One Piece stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the next arc, I would be absolutely satisfied if it's really just we follow the log post, but instead of going to the island where the needle is going the craziest, we go to the one where it's pretty much nothing happening, which is just a random deserted island. We go there, we recover, we chill out, we celebrate Jinbei, we celebrate Momonosuke, we celebrate Yamato, and then we find out about the events of the reverie, because much like how we found out about Ace, Luffy saw the V card burning, and he decided, yeah, Ace wouldn't want me to come. I'm sure he's gonna be fine. And then on Amazon Lily, he found out, yeah, he's gonna be executed, and that's when Luffy decided to spring into action. If anything is going on with Sabo, I feel like it's going to be figured out either during Elbaf or after, and then we're gonna move on to help Sabo. As far as what happened with Vivi, I would 100% not be surprised, especially with the pace that Oda is going, if on our way to, or if in between the deserted island we go to another island that's occupied that by civilians or whatever, but it's the territory of, like, Shanks. You know, the island that Bartolomeo attacked. Imagine if we go there. Imagine if we end up landing there we resupply, and we get people in the background talking about what happened at the Reverie, and we meet up with Vivi there, and then we move on to that next island. We catch Vivi up on everything, and then we toast and celebrate all of the Straw Hat Pirates together. That's what I would like for the next arc to be. But in all honesty, I do believe that we may actually, like, my actual prediction is we're going to Elbath, and it's going to be an exposition dump. We're gonna find out what happened at the Reverie. We're gonna find out what happened at the Reverie. We're gonna find out what's been going on with Sabo, the revolutionaries, Vivi, and the statement that Oda made a while ago. It said that Sabo is, Vivi is, Hancock is. So what's going on with Hancock right now? Honestly, I don't think that Kobe beat her by himself. If she is beaten, if she's captured, Luffy is 100% going to help Hancock. If it's another prison break arc, I would be okay with that. Just not a stealthy prison break. More of a, I have my Grand Fleet here. I need your help. My friends are in trouble. We need to get them. They go in, they break into the prison. It's an all-out assault, just a raid on some new prison. Even though Impel Down was supposed to be the world government's ultimate stronghold, but an assault on a new prison to save Sabo and Hancock. Those are my next arc predictions, and obviously Sniper Island. If we don't get Sniper Island, I'm gonna be absolutely pissed. I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, my first thought is they are all like hyped up that they just saved Wano, and then I kind of just see them having a celebration. Like, they have a big feast with everyone in Wano, and at the same time, they're like, oh, hey, well, we're already getting shit-faced. Jinbei, welcome to the crew, bud. And then while they're doing that, some way or another, they find out X happened to Vivi, Y happened to Sabo, such and such happened to Boa, and they're like, shit, we gotta go fix that.
My only thing... Oh, no, go ahead. No, go ahead.
The other thing I see happening is they're having their celebration, and whoever is like, all right, so we got 3 poneglyphs. We should probably go find this last one. And either it just like magically pops up and they have the 4, or they realize they have the 3 and they're like, all right. And for whatever reason, they don't do anything with Vivi, Sabo, Hancock. Assuming that doesn't happen and they have the 3 poneglyphs, they're like, all right, time to go get the 4th one. And then that's where we go next. Because I don't really think it would be a good idea for them to just be like, all right, we just kind of did a lot. Like, we've been on this mission to kill Kaido for however many chapters. Probably just like go on a vacation for a bit before we, take on the whole world.
Yeah, right. But hey, we are going on almost 2.5 hours. We're hitting the 2 hour and 20-minute mark right here. Next, I believe we have a chapter next week, guys. Guys, we're gonna start winding down right now because I'm literally melting in my seat. Gon, I'm going to post that ninja that was on the rooftops because it wasn't Shinobu, bro. I know for a fact it wasn't Shinobu. It was just another big-headed person. Like just the typical ninja design for some reason on our side, the big-headed guy. But we're gonna wind down here. Let me know who you guys want me to do the next one-on-one discussion with, and for that matter, give me a name for these discussions. Everybody has a name for their discussions. Dritz has Neck to Neck. Eric and Christian has the whole Red Force podcast. Give me something. Give me anything, like the Black Flag table talk or what, anything. Give me your suggestions, but mostly let me know who you guys want to, you want me to try and have a one-on-one discussion with. I'll shoot them a DM or something on Twitter. Ouji, Jesus Christ, thank you for coming on. You helped me continue something that I probably wouldn't have done otherwise, which is do something on a non-chapter week. So for that, I thank you, man. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for, sharing your ideas. Thank you for just talking. Honestly.
Nah, man, thank you. It was a pleasure to be here. Like I said, very thankful for when you shared my video. Very thankful to be on your stream so that I can talk with you. You're a really smart guy. You have a lot of great ideas. So it's been a blast. Without melting you and without withholding you from your Avengers game, I could have talked for 3 more hours. So again, thank you very much for having me.
Bro, on the new crew member topic alone, I could talk for like 5.
I mean, Carrot's going to be the next Straw Hat, but we're not going to talk about that.
Oh God, no. You know what? Next chapter, you can come on. We can talk for as long as fucking possible.
Sounds good, man.
Anytime you want, man. Anytime you want, you have the open invite. You have the YouTuber role in the Discord. I'll make it so you can just pop into the streams whenever you want. With that, I'm going to end the stream here. Everybody who came through, thank you. We got 16 likes on the stream. I appreciate it. Appreciate everybody who came through. Like I said, shoot me a suggestion on who you guys want me to try and do another 1v1 discussion with. Give me a name for these discussions, because I feel like just theory discussion with is kind of bland and it's not really eye-catching. But yeah, with that, I will see you guys next week for the chapter. And also, I'm at 810 subs. Soon I will have absolutely no excuse to not release my what if Ace survived video. Spoiler alert, he's with the Straw Hat Pirates. Go sub to Ouji's channel. His channel is linked in the description. Give him some love, please. And with that, I will see you guys later. Take it easy.